How the worst team in the league can overcome adversities to become a real contender, hire a good manager, pick the best draft prospect, or simply sign the best player in the world. That's exactly what Inter Miami did. Now Lionel Messi plays for the last place team in Major League Soccer. Why Messi chose Inter Miami, and how are things going? Lionel Messi knows how to overcome adversities. When he was at 10, he was diagnosed as having growth hormone deficiency, so a treatment was needed, but it was extremely expensive during an economic crisis in Argentine economy. He was too skinny and his legs had the size of fingers, one scout said. However, Barcelona were staggered by Messi's talent and paid the medical expenses. At Barca, his legend was forged. He went from a ball boy to captain of the team. Then he won 12 league titles in 2 countries and 4 Champions Leagues. And the Argentine midfielder is the perfect savior. During more than 30 years, the national team didn't secure one single piece of silverware. So Messi, after several attempts, triumphed in the Copa America, and then he won nothing more than the World Cup. With that, Messi reached football's Olympus.
Bienvenido Leo Messi.
At the age of 36, as the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Messi has embarked on a new challenge in the United States. Inter Miami was founded in 2018. The owners are the Mas brothers, Jorge and Jose, 60-year-old billionaires and chairman of Mas Tech, an infrastructure, construction and engineering company. The other owner is the legendary former player, David Beckham.
Hola David, bueno, antes que nada felicitaciones, quería desearte muchísima suerte en este nuevo proyecto, en esta nueva etapa tuya.
When the club was announced, Messi congratulated him. Beckham moved to America 16 years ago and agreed to a deal to play for the Los Angeles Galaxy. The contract included a clause that granted him the right to establish his own franchise. Messi had long-harbored plans to play in the US, inspired by the impact of Beckham's time in Los Angeles, and intrigued by the idea of contributing to the sport's growth. From the moment they joined the Miami ownership group, the Mas brothers displayed ambition alongside Beckham, aiming to attract the biggest stars. They aimed to refine their initial concepts to create an appealing package capable of enticing Messi to MLS. Thanks to the designated player rule introduced before the 2007 season to enable the LA Galaxy to sign Beckham, teams could sign free players without salary cap restrictions. As such, there were no limitations on the amount Miami could offer Messi. No rule changes were necessary. However, the Mas brothers recognized that competing with Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, and humor interests from the Saudi Arabian League required more than just financial resources. MLS needed to innovate. Among the ideas discussed was offering Messi an equity stake in Inter Miami. This approach echoed the deal Beckham signed, which included an option to acquire the rights to an expansion team for a fixed fee of $25 million. Moreover, Apple, the fresh media partners of MLS, had keen interest in the potential addition of Messi, a signing poised to make a tremendous impact on viewership and subscriptions. The intricacies of the agreement encompassed a revenue-sharing arrangement with Messi for new international subscribers, among other facets. Jorge Mas recognized, however, he couldn't purely match the financial terms of the offer presented by the Saudi Professional League, reportedly exceeding $1 billion. Anyway, he believed Miami could present something distinctive, reshaping the sport's future in one of the world's largest countries and markets. States. Pelé came to the US in 1975 to nurture soccer's growth. Beckham arrived in 2007 to propel MLS onward. In 2023, Messi could pull off transformative changes on an even grander stage. Mas also felt like family would guide Messi. He thus outlined the potential post-soccer life that awaited Lionel. The proximity to Argentina held significance. Miami was a mere 9-hour flight to Buenos Aires, compared to 13.5 hours from Barcelona and over 20 hours from Riyadh. Equally vital was the opportunity to stay engaged with the team and the sport in the US once he walked away from playing. But Messi wanted a move back to Barcelona, the club where he totally rocked his career and snagged a whopping 10 La Liga trophies and 4 Champions League wins. But hold up, rewind a bit. The stick situation was the crazy financial mess that forced him to leave the club in 2021. Well, turns out it wasn't exactly rainbows and unicorns now. The end of his time in Paris was ugly. Messi was booed by some fans in his last game with PSG, carrying the feeling that he had not fully embraced the club. He even had to issue an apology to fans after skipped training to go on an unsanctioned trip to Saudi Arabia and was punished. The big dream of winning PSG's first Champions League title remains disappointingly distant. Lastly, an offer was on the table from Al Hilal, one of the top teams in the Saudi Pro League. Following Al Nassr's acquisition of Cristiano Ronaldo in December, reportedly amounting $210 million per year, encompassing image rights, commercial agreements, and ambassadorial roles. The Saudi Pro League, backed by the Public Investment Fund, Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, intensified efforts to recruit numerous top-tier players globally. Their ultimate prize was Messi, with reports suggesting a staggering offer of up to $1.3 billion over a span of 3 years. This figure marked an unparalleled sum for a player contract. Globally, few people expected Miami to win out. Messi was less than a year removed from winning the Golden Ball as the best player at the World Cup that he won with Argentina. He boasted a record of 20 goals and 20 assists, positioning him among the most prolific performers in the top 5 European leagues. Even within Inter Miami's several staff members believed the odds were stacked unfavorably. Jorge Mas, though, remained optimistic. Ultimately, Messi chose Miami in a deal valued $70 million. In the interim period, a rather awkward sequence of events played out in anticipation of Messi's arrival. Ticket price for Miami's home and away matches experienced substantial hikes. Although as late as the July 4th home game, employees at Inter Miami's team store at Drive-Pink Stadium were unable to imprint Messi onto jerseys or shirts. Sitting at the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings, Miami was actively pursuing other strategies for enhancement. It reached agreements with Messi's former teammates from Barcelona, namely Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba. In addition, the team brought on Tata Martino, Messi's former manager from Barcelona and Argentina, who had previously clinched a MLS Cup with Atlanta United in 2018 as coach. When Messi first stepped onto the field for Miami 1 month ago, he was seen as the potential savior of a last-placed team. His first mission was to lead the franchise in the Leagues Cup, a knockout tournament. At stake was a trophy and a spot in the next year's rebranded CONCACAF Champions League. A mere 40 minutes stood between Messi's introduction and his inaugural match-deciding goal for Miami.
In the history of this sport, Messi!
And within a span of 28 days, 23 hours and 28 minutes from that remarkable goal, he netted his 10th, a breathtaking opener in the Leagues Cup final Miami emerged victorious in the match, claiming their first ever trophy in the brief history of the club. Each goal and each victory that went along with it has redirected the trajectory of the team. There are moments in the game he is just unplayable. Nashville coach Gary Smith said, "There are windows where it's almost impossible to deal with what he is wanting to do." It is a story that has been told all times Messi has played for Inter Miami. On Saturday night's Leagues Cup final, Nashville demonstrated a superior ability to contain Messi compared to any of his previous Leagues Cup adversaries. His access to dangerous spots was limited as Nashville executed a disciplined defensive formation, inviting Miami's other players to seize opportunities. Messi's movements ranged from the left wing to the right wing, advancing to the forward line, and even retreating deep into midfield in search of opportunities to engage with the ball. Yet, when that moment arrived, it demanded a mere 3 seconds and 4 touches. One touch to control the ball, another to elude Nashville defender Walker Zimmerman, a third touch to maintain possession. When Zimmerman intervened with a foot, the fourth touch unleashed a strike that soared between converging defenders, ultimately finding the top corner of the net. This is how quickly the fortunes of a team can change after a long and bumpy road. There was a touch of poetic justice in the fact that their first championship triumph was secured against the very team that joined the league alongside them in 2020. In a packed stadium boasting over 30,000 spectators, the initial struggles of launching amidst a pandemic felt like a distant memory for both squads.
Messi up over.
Among Messi's many highlights was a free kick in the round of 16 against FC Dallas. Messi is the superstar, of course. He shoulders the responsibility of delivering game-altering instances and carrying the team's weight when the situation demands. Yet, he also plays the role of guardian. During the match against Orlando City, he exhibited no reluctancy in engaging in tackles and confrontations. The same resiliency was evident against Philadelphia. When Jose Martinez aimed a kick at Noah Allen while he was on the ground during the second half, Messi promptly intervened to shield the young defender. He is also embraced just being one of the guys. Around the facility, Messi has found ways to blend into the group as best he can.
Campagna was looking for tickets, and he put in the group chat, "Hey, does anybody have any tickets?" And then I didn't even know that Messi was in the group chat yet, but he popped up straight away and said, "How many do you need, Leo?" Straight away like that. So, just from there, I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like straight off the bat, I obviously, they've known each other for maybe, I don't even know how, 2 days.
On the Saturday night of victory, he sprinted forth to celebrate when goalkeeper Drake Callender secured the decisive save following the winning penalty. And after his teammates excitedly tossed him into the air and the squad congregated on stage to lift the coveted trophy, Messi humbly removed his captain's armband and placed it on Yedlin. Yedlin, who had been captain before Messi's arrival, was thereby enabled to raise the trophy alongside him, symbolizing their collective achievements. Inter Miami remained undefeated over a stretch of 6 consecutive matches and was gearing up for a final showdown. Messi had netted 9 goals throughout these 6 games. After goals scored in Miami's home stadium, Messi has turned toward the on-field suites where his family sits and celebrated with nods toward Marvel superheroes. The first free kick goal against Cruz Azul was a stoppage time winner that started this extraordinary streak. 2 additional goals followed in a clash with Atlanta United, a fiery performance, and another goal in a win over Orlando City. A feat even more astonishing unfolded with a game-tying free kick against FC Dallas, another tally against Charlotte. The highlight reel expanded with a long-range strike against Philadelphia, and then a truly extraordinary finish unfolded against Nashville, arguably Messi's most impressive contribution yet since donning the Miami jersey.
Shootout. It looks like a movie, no? It does, and people keep saying that. You know, every time Leo scores one of these goals, every time Boosie makes one of these passes, every time Geordie makes one of these runs, people say, is it a fix? And it's the biggest compliment anyone can give these players, because it is like a movie. You watch them.
It felt a bit like the Leagues Cup final was the end of something, instead of the beginning. That Messi's first games were built around a knockout tournament, allowed this last month to be tied neatly with a bow at the end. However, it's just the start. Although Messi might not actively seek the responsibility of bearing additional burdens, whether it's fostering the sport's expansion in the US or steering the league's evolution, his mere presence has already initiated such a transformative impact.